Do you know what to do when law enforcement comes knocking at your door and wants to talk to you? Well, I'm going to tell you. Good afternoon. I'm Patrick McGee. I'm a Florida trial attorney and former police officer, and I try to bring you news and information from Florida and around the country related to firearms and Second Amendment. So I get this question all the time. What do I say to the cops when they show up at my door? I've had a few cases like that where people have actually called me and go, the police are knocking on my door. What do I do? And it's a sticky situation. So let's talk about it. Talking to the police when you're the subject or the possible subject of a criminal investigation is a very dangerous proposition. I always tell my clients, do not speak to the police without your attorney present or consulting your attorney. Several times where clients have called me and go, the police are knocking at my door, what do I do? Well, the first thing you do is a smart thing is they called me. The second thing is I either went over there or I spoke to the police on the phone, but I always told my client what to do. And here's what you do. You say nothing. You invoke your right to counsel. You expressly, unequivocally invoke your right to counsel. Make it known that you consent to nothing and you do not waive any rights whatsoever. When I first became a lawyer and we had business cards and we actually used them and printed out, I had a business card with all the information printed on the back, and I'll show it here, and you can screenshot it if you want and use it for yourself. I've had clients come into my office years later with these cards, my business card, in their wallet, that they kept these cards. Some of them laminated, some of them they were all crumpled up and looked terrible, but they still kept the cards. And let me show you what the card says. It contains an invocation of rights. My lawyer has told me not to talk to anyone about my case, not to answer any questions, and not to reply to accusations. I refuse to consent to any search. Call my lawyer if you want to ask me any questions, search me, my property, or do any tests or other identification ID procedures. I do not waive any of my constitutional rights. And yes, that is not my hand holding it up. So if you want, you can screenshot that and keep it for your own purposes. I've had many clients do that. Let me tell you a story. One time I got a call on a Sunday morning. It wasn't one of my clients. It was somebody that was referred to me from another lawyer. This lady calls me and goes, the police are at my door. They want to come in and they want to search my house. Tell me what's going on. Apparently, she used to be a dentist in South America, and she opened up her own dental office in her garage, and one of her patients complained. So the police came out to do an investigation with the complaining party. So, the complaining party gives her story, then the cops come there and they try to give her story. Luckily, I wasn't far from her. I was about 20 minutes away. I went over there. I intercepted the investigation. I spoke to the officers and told them, listen, if you want to search the house, come with a warrant. She's not going to say anything to you. She's not going to let you search the house. He goes, okay, come back. We'll come back. So he takes the complaining party away, supposedly to the police station or whatever. Maybe he's working on getting a warrant or not. They leave officers at the house. We're on the front porch. They got the house secured. He comes back like 2 hours later without the complaining party, no warrant, nothing, because they had nothing. They had no probable cause. They couldn't get a warrant to go in and search the house. So they leave. So how do we resolve the case? We never heard from him again. So let me tell you about another case. A guy and his neighbor get in a little tiff. The neighbor accuses him of stealing something worth, a couple $1,000s. It's a grand theft. So the police show up at his house. He wasn't home. They left a card on the door. He calls me. He goes, listen, the police left this card on my door. Some detective, he wants to talk to me about this accusation my neighbor's making. I go, ignore it. Don't call him back. If he shows up, let me know. This is what you do if he shows up. And I texted him a picture of that card. So like a day later, 2 days later, the detective shows back up. And he calls me and goes, hey, the detective's knocking on my door. What do? I go, read him that card. He reads the detective the card. The detective leaves. Never hears from him again. No charges filed. No further investigation. Case over. I can't tell you how many times that is replayed. People who talk to the police versus people who don't talk to the police, they're very different outcomes. Sometimes, actually a lot of the time, I get calls from people after they've already spoken to the police. And I was a police detective for a long time. I know what goes on when the police take statements and they take confessions. And I can tell you, over my law enforcement career, which was almost 20 years, I have never seen anybody talk themselves out of handcuffs. If the police want to arrest you, they will arrest you. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what they're trained to do. They are criminal investigators. Making arrests and closing cases is their sole purpose in life. That's how they're evaluated. That's how their performance is measured. That is all they do, is make arrests and close investigations. Always be careful when you're speaking to the police. The less you say, the better. Keep it limited to the comments on that card that I showed you. Do not try to provoke them. Don't taunt them. Don't carry on any extra conversation with them, and always be professional and send them on their way. If they have what they need to arrest you, they would have arrested you. If they leave without arresting you, that means they don't have what they need to arrest you. They don't have probable cause to arrest you. Make them do their job. They get paid to do a job. Make them do their job. Don't make it easier for them. So now you know what to do when the police show up at your door, and you know what to say. Call your lawyer. Thanks for coming and joining me here on Lawyered Up. I always appreciate the time you spend with me when I put out these videos. If you have any questions, please contact me. Put it down in the comments. I try to answer as best I can. Any other information that you need or you would like me to comment on, please feel free to send that to me. And as always, have a great